Thank you for joining me for some slower level 1 global caravan tribal belly dancing moves. So we're going to start just in our wrists. So with our wrists we can do beautiful fluid movements that accent the moves of the rest of our body. So we can do a forward wrist and a backward wrist. And the way that Paulette loves to describe it is if you're grabbing a shot glass and you want to pick it up and turn it upside down and then turn it upside down. That's the kind of movement that we're creating, and then we can just add beautiful action to our fingers to make it even more beautiful. And then of course we can pick it up from upside down, turn it back up the other way. Beautiful floreo movements. We can add these to some of the slower moves that we're going to be learning now. So the first slower move is with the hips. So remember, we're trying to isolate below the rib cage for this movement and keep the top half nice and steady. So sink into those knees a little bit to give you that hip isolation movement. So the Maya, what we're going to do is make a figure 8 that takes our hips up and over, up and over. So we're going up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. So try to keep both feet flat on the floor. You might need to raise your heels just a little bit, that's okay, but we try and keep our feet flat, and we're trying to keep our body nice and flat this way. So we're not sending our hips forward or back, they're just going up and over in this plane here. So imagine you're kind of wedged between the sofa and the wall and you're trying to get out. So we're going to go up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. So our Maya is this beautiful figure 8. And we can add those beautiful wrist accents, either forward or backward. Just take them nice and slowly. If we take the hip figure 8 the opposite direction, where we go down, up and over, this is our taxine. So similar figure 8, just taking in the opposite direction, where we go down first and then lift it up. And now this hip is down, you take this across, up and over, down, up and over, down, up and over. And a beautiful arm movement to add to taxine is the snake arms. So with snake arms, if you roll your shoulder slightly so that your elbow lifts, you send some energy out your hands with a bit of a wrist flourish, as if you're sending energy out, Try not to lift your shoulder up to your ears. Make the movement in the arms only by lifting that elbow. And as you lift one, the other one drops, and then as that one drops, the other one lifts. And we can match our hips in our taxine to our snake arms. It's a beautiful, fluid, feminine movement. Let's try that to a little bit of music. Let's start with Maya. So up and over, up and over. Nice and slow. And twist. isolation. So firstly, if we just stand up nice and straight, what we're going to do is send our rib cage, so this is working the top half only now, send it out to the right, across to the corner, back and around. So we want to isolate that top half. So just start by doing that lean and feeling how far you can take it before your hips start to move, because we don't want to turn it into a Mr. Whippy, do we? So let's keep this bottom half nice and grounded and only isolating that top half. So up to the front, drop it back to the side. And then fluid that out. As you go forward, we're lifting the chest, and as we go back, we're sinking backwards, but don't curl into your shoulders as you go backwards. Keep your shoulders nice and straight and back. Lift, forward, take it back, back. A great way to do this rib cage is to do easel legs. So this is where we step forward on the right, keep that foot nice and grounded on a slight angle, and the back foot goes onto the toe so that we've got 3 points of contact with the floor. The ball and heel of the front foot and the ball of the back foot in an easel position. So this should keep you nice and grounded, and you might need to practice moving that back foot around a bit until you find the spot that keeps you nice and steady and grounded. And then we put the back arm out, the front arm out to the front, so that as we lift, we're taking that lift up and around, lift up and around, lift up and around, lift up and around. Beautiful. We can use the same easel legs for our structural roll. So with our structural roll, got our easel legs again. What we're trying to do here is lift the chest and then roll back. Lift, roll back. Now as we're rolling backwards, what we want to do is just end up in a neutral position of the lower back. So we don't want to end up swinging that bottom out at the end there. The idea is, imagine you were doing it against a wall and you were leaning forward away from the wall and then slowly letting each vertebra come in contact with that wall. In a slow roll. So our arms out, like this, and we're doing slow roll. Lift, rolling back. Lift, rolling back. As we lift, make sure you don't lift your shoulders towards your ears. Lifting your chest, slowly rolling back. Lifting, and as we roll back, drawing in those tummy muscles, so engaging with our core. That's our structural roll. Let's try those two some music. couple of moves that I want to show you that are the slow moves for beginners is the slow bicycle shimmy. So this is a travelling shimmy, so we can take it forward and you can take it back. So we step forward on the right and we send our weight and our hip out in that direction. As we lift the left leg, we're going to also lift that hip and then place it back down. And then we send the weight out to that side, lift our right hip and place it back down. So we're going to go out, lift, place, hold. Out, lift, place, hold. Out, lift, place, hold. Out, lift, place, hold. So as we lift, we want to be using these beautiful oblique muscles that we've got. That's what they're for. So as we're lifting this hip, using these muscles in here like a crunch. So it's good to practice that with your foot off the ground, because it's not a push with the leg. Also, what we want to try and do is keep nice and level as we do this. So it's not a lift the whole body, it's only the hip that gets lifted and our head stays level. So out, lift, place, rest. Out, lift, place, rest. It's a beautiful move that you can do fast or slow. Here we're practicing it slow. And the final move that I'll show you is the reach and turn. And this is a step where we, as the name suggests, we're going to reach and turn. So it's a circle step. And it takes 8 counts to do the full circle. So with this, we're going to step out and bring it back in, out, bring it back in. And as we do that, we're going to turn it. So because it's 8 counts, it's 8 steps. So we're taking it an 1/8 of the way around the room as we go. Let's practice that first. Out, together, 2, together, 3, together, 4, together, 5, together, 6, together, 7, together, 8, together. So it's a little reach and twist, a fairly gentle one. With our hands, this is where we get the reach in as well. So we're going to reach like we're picking some fruit to bring back to the beautiful bowl we have in our hands. But as we're reaching, we're placing the fruit that's in our hand into the basket on our tummies. So we're going to reach, put that fruit back into our hand, drop that fruit as we reach for the next one. Pick and place, pick and place. So we're going to do that in our circle. I'm going to do that facing away from you so you can see that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Back to the front. So that's a beautiful move to do fairly slowly, rather than race around in really quick beats. So let's put those last few counts together to our song.